We are live. Hello, everybody. We're doing a very special episode today where we are talking about what was the name again? Absolute Truth, Operation Absolute Truth, the Yoikening of Maduro, who was stupid enough to say, "Come and get me, you cowards! Come and get me!" And of course, we reached out and slapped the bejesus out of him like a pimp slapping one of his hoes hiding their money.
Yep.
So, how is everyone doing today on this very special occasion? Today we have Crazy Horse with us. We have our Madman with us, and we have the Son of Mars with us today for today's little get together and discussion about all of this really amazing stuff that is, in a word, amazing.
Happy New Year, everybody.
This is
What a way.
What we did was super amazing. We did the impossible got done. We literally snuck into a country and within 35 minutes captured the dictator and his wife, wrapped them up, stuffed them, read them their rights, stuffed them on a helicopter, and flew them the hell out of there.
Precision.
If anybody can't understand why military personnel are sitting here gobsmacked going, "Oh, hell yeah," and they're celebrating the fact we were able to pull this off and we didn't lose any of our own people. We also did not kill any civilians.
Correct.
The only people who died in this were opposing military forces, and the majority of those that were killed were Cuban mercenaries that Maduro had hired to protect himself personally.
As private security, correct. And we have I believe two of our military personnel, God go with them. They were in serious condition, but are from all accounts healing well and getting the care that they richly deserve.
Good.
I haven't heard anything about any of our guys that got hurt that bad. If they have, my prayers and my thoughts and my hopes and are going to be with them, of course, because they're my brothers and they're my sisters.
Godspeed.
The statement in, I think, wasn't it Richard III that said, "Any man who sheds his blood with me on this day is my brother"? That's where I'm at. Now, this is going to be an example of one of the things that we're wanting to do. Oh, shoot. Tony's in the audience listening in.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
He says that he has 3,330 subs so far. Consider trusting us with help in production strategy. I want to see you all spike up too. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
And
Let's get into 33. Come on. Hello. Come on.
I'm
Three more subs, people.
I'm starting to utilize YouTube Shorts myself a bit. That's helped bump up my numbers a bit.
And Trubby says it wasn't Richard III, it was Henry V at Agincourt.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, I knew it was one of the. It was Shakespeare. I just couldn't remember which play. At this point, a lot of my age, they kind of blur together because it's been so long since I've read them. My copy of the plays of Shakespeare is currently setting somewhere in the UK with my kid and ex-wife. But anywho, this is going to be an example of a deep dive fireside chat. as you know, can tell, in the background, I have a different background. I have the war room from Dr. Strangelove in the background, because this is a military operation that was carried out, and I just wanted to be able to use this background. But anyway, we're going to go into a deep dive, starting with how Chavez came to power, all the stuff that Chavez did while he was in office. That's one of the reasons why everybody that was losing their collective shit over Trump seizing oil tankers and trying to say that it was a violation of international law, when it was actually upholding international law by seizing these oil tankers. And I'll explain that.
Yeah.
It's going to be in our opening, okay? This is a deep dive that's going to take, we're probably going to end up doing a full 2 hours, if not more. It all depends on how long my panelists can stick with us.
Yep.
Yes, Shrubby.
And
hold on. Does that make Rich Dr. Strangelove as he is the cripple? Yes, Shrubby, I'm the cripple.
Well, this is a very interesting time in history.
Yes, this is a very interesting time in history, because Operation Absolute Truth is a historic moment. It was something that has never been done before. And it was accomplished in such a way that they're going to be looking back on it. Actually, this has been done before. Let me take that back. A German Nazi commando by the name of Sikorsky did the liberation of Mussolini in a similar manner. Snuck in and got Mussolini out of the hands of the people that were holding him in the last years of World War II. But that's a tangent. I don't want to go into a tangent. I'm doing everything in my power not to do tangents tonight.
Focus.
Yes, I'm trying to focus here, guys. So
we'll bring out that spray bottle. Don't you make us bring out that.
Yes, I know. So we're going to start out with everybody saying hello and then introducing themselves. We will start with Crazy Horse. Please introduce yourself.
Well, hello. A lot of y'all already know me, but I'm Crazy Horse. Can't wait to see what this discussion brings out. Don't know what to say.
All right, our Madman, Tales of Valhalla.
Yes, sir. Our Madman 4, you kind of probably see him at Friday Night Frolic sometimes with Overlord DVD there in the chat. Also have a YouTube channel called Tales of Valhalla, where I do stop motion of HeroScape miniatures and along with other things, and talk about HeroScape. I just plain love HeroScape. It's a wonderful miniature war game. And sometimes I'm on with Richard Scape. Sometimes I'm on Tony's streams. Sometimes I've been recently going to Fat streams sometime too, having a fun time talking about Star Wars, pop culture, and the like. So glad to be here tonight.
Yep, and then we get to Son of Mars. Here we are.
Yeah. The shadow of the shadow of the internet, where nothing can hide. We're definitely going to peel back the veil here today, folks. Let's be frank of that. I've been researching some stuff here, gonna lay some stuff on you that you're not going to get anywhere else, and give you a perspective that's square, unpartisan, unvarnished. You're going to get that.
And also, as we all know, the Son of Mars is first generation Cuban American.
That's right.
Who works with a lot of the Venezuelan expatriates down there in Florida.
Absolutely. It's a little known fact, Richard, that in South Florida, the second largest Hispanic demographic are Venezuelan expats.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, also, our Madman 4 here
Mm-hmm.
has ties to this region
Yes.
by way of Chile.
Yeah, my wife, who was born in Honduras, has Chilean and Peruvian lineage, basically. Like through her work and through her church, knows people within Venezuela who are in and out of the country. So I have a couple of stories. I have a couple of stories and information to tell about that.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And that's when we get to the point where we start talking about the things that Maduro has been doing, he's going to be bringing in a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to the oppression of Christians that's been going on under Maduro.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're starting out before Maduro. 26 years ago, well, we're going to actually go back more than
Further
20
than that, way back.
Okay, we're going to go back to when Chavez started his rise to power. It all started with his coup attempt. I think the coup attempt was in what, 93?
Yep.
And he tried to take over Venezuela. He was a colonel in the Venezuelan army, and he failed miserably. I'm talking gritty crude oil lube with a really rough sandpaper condom up his
Sounds
backside.
painful.
Okay, that's how bad his coup attempt was. But
Yeah.
somehow he was able to turn his coup attempt into start a political career and a political movement by pushing the socialist ideology of the Bolivarian. Am I saying that right, our madman?
Bolivarian, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Y'all know English. English might be my native language, but it's not my first language. My first language is redneck. So
it's nearly like a second language to me. And I've been
Yeah.
interacting with the Spanish language for about now, I'd say 16 years. 16
Good for
plus
you,
years.
man. Good for you. The more you interact, the more alimony you might have to pay later.
No, I've learned a lot.
So
Learned a lot about the culture and how all within different countries, all the cultures are different too. And the language is a little bit different as well.
Yeah, true. Very true. They're all slight variants on Castilian.
Right.
But to Richard's point, yes, he had a failed coup attempt because he was being backed by some leftist leaning politician groups, being able to fund some of the dissenters from that current government, which up to that point, to be quite honest, had been heavily influenced by our oil industry. Okay.
Yeah.
In other words, some of the similar complaints and quips that had happened 30 years earlier in Cuba over American business influence in the region. But you got to consider, back then Exxon had invested, and the reason I could say this is because back in the day, I had a friend I worked with who was sent to this country by his father to study here, start working here, and then later on ended up, trying to smuggle his father out, who had worked as a geologist for some of the, what you could say, Venezuelan arm of the Exxon Petroleum Company. Okay, because back then, to speculate in oil, you had to have a concern in the country named and operated from the country, even though it was funded by an external concern. And not to get too deep into that, but the fact is that around that same time, some of the same concerns or quips that were raised by folks like Castro were raised by Chavez and other political figures, and they staged a coup on the current regime. And yes, he failed, but interestingly enough, part of the reason why Venezuela and Cuba have been so tightly buddy-buddy is because back then, Cuba kept funding money back into Chavez from Russia. So Russia still kept giving money, and China kept giving money to Cuba that funneled in to support Chavez's political bids to become what he became. And that's a very little known fact outside of people who know people who were there.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
And the whole thing, this is one of the reasons why Chavez was so closely tied to Cuba, was those ties that never went away. Even after Chavez died, those ties have stayed. That's one of the reasons why Maduro's personal bodyguard detachment were almost exclusively Cubans. And
Mhm.
because he didn't trust his own people to protect him.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, that's how it usually goes with dictatorships like this. Look at Muammar Gaddafi. His personal bodyguards were from the same tribe he was from. Plus, all those hot chicks that he had wearing really attractive uniforms.
Don't make me get out that spray bottle.
Hey, man, if I ever become a dictator, you better believe I am going to have a personal bodyguard detachment of hot chicks in hot uniforms.
There's no other way to do it.
Exactly, man. If I got that kind of power, you better believe I'm going to have me some hot eye candy around.
Yeah. But point to Shrubby is it's not just Exxon, Chevron, all the US based companies had invested serious bank into the economy of Venezuela. Okay. Most of the infrastructure, it is not realized that most of the infrastructure that they've still been operating was originally invested by companies in this country. So when you hear, oh, it's all about oil, considering that for the last 30 some odd years, they've been making whatever they've been making after investments made by this country. Yeah. And
yep, I'll be covering that in a moment.
Yeah, I know. I was just responding to Shrubby's comment in there because I wanted people to get the full picture. He's absolutely right.
Yes, but you also had Citgo, which was the Venezuelan-owned company, oil company that operates here in the States.
Yep. That's a whole other story. We get to that.
Now, Chavez came to power, and at the same time, most people don't remember this, but I do because, well, I'm that old, and I'm a news junkie who basically needs information coming in all the time. I remember the ties with FARC that Chavez had. Those who don't know what FARC is, that's the communist insurgency in Colombia.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Now, Chavez created the can you say the word for me, our madman or Marcelo?
Bolivia?
The Bolivarian Alliance.
Bolivia. Okay.
Did I see that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The Bolivarian Alliance that he created was Venezuela, Bolivia, Cuba, and what was the other one? that the a socialist alliance of the Americas, and it was the Bolivarian Alliance.
Yep.
This was supposed to be Chavez's dream of creating a left-wing socialist Latin American answer to NATO and the Warsaw Pact.
Yep.
And it was something that it was his big dream. He,
Mhm.
Honduras, if I remember right, where the Sandinistas was at,
Nicaragua.
was also associated
Nicaragua.
with Nicaragua.
Hmm.
Okay. He was doing everything in his power to unify all of the socialist,
Yeah.
communist, left-wing, radical, revolutionary movements all throughout South America and Central America, i.e. Latin America. Even had really strong inroads there in Brazil. Now, the drug cartels in Colombia had already had well-established ties with FARC because they are them being opposed to the government of Colombia,
which has gone back and forth between leftist and centrist for decades now.
Yes. Now, that's where a lot of the connections with the cartels. Y'all didn't hear that, did you?
Keep going.
All right. The ties to the cartels with Maduro came from.
Mm.
There are rumors that Chavez also had really good ties to some of these cartels.
Unquestionably.
Unquestionably.
Okay? Unquestionably. You would have to search for it, Richard, but there is well, I will say it this way. There is often rumored video of Chavez entertaining folks like Mr. Pablo Escobar. Remember him?
Yep.
Yeah. The guy who brought hippos to the Amazon. Okay. And the fact is that for many years, our attention was drawn away from this hemisphere. Okay? Our attention was drawn away from this hemisphere. A lot of what we're seeing today is the fact that we didn't do our due diligence outside this hemisphere, which allowed things inside of this hemisphere to get to the situation where it is now. Just going to put that right there. Okay? We didn't clean up our own house, and then we let our attention go to the other side of the planet, and coming back here, it's cleanup time. It's time we did our, I hate to say it this way, it's time we did our chores. Okay? Setting in order the Panama Canal, step number 1. Well, securing the border, step number 1. Panama Canal, step number 2. Okay? Clearing out the stem of drugs through Venezuela into the United States. Okay? Step 2.5. Okay? 2.5. Because you'll have people out there, Richard, that will say, oh, well, much of the drugs coming out that pass through Venezuela are going to Europe. Okay, give me a number. What does much mean? 20%? 30%? Yeah, what's that other 70-80% going to? Oh, yeah, the United States. So
Hey, all I care about is
much,
stopping them.
yeah, much is an incredibly subjective. Much is
I
an
don't
incredibly
I don't
subjective
care
pronoun.
I don't care where the drugs are going. I want
Well,
them stopped, especially the fentanyl.
I get you.
Please
I get you.
let me
I
keep going
get
for
you.
a second here. This is a big bugaboo for me because of the fentanyl epidemic. Really pisses me the hell off because it's why I can't get pain medicine. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I can't get pain medicine because of the fentanyl epidemic. Because the bureaucrats keep going, oh, we've got to limit who gets opioids because of the fentanyl epidemic. And the fentanyl epidemic are people who are taking fentanyl not knowing they're taking fentanyl. Those are the people who are overdosing on this stuff. And that's what pisses me off about it. They think they're taking other over-the-counter fucking pills that have been spiked with fentanyl, and they're dying from these overdoses. And those overdoses are getting counted as opioid overdoses.
Yeah. You know
Thus,
what, Richard?
people who, like me, who have drug allergies, who can't take the types of pain medicines 90% of the other people can take, have to suffer.
Richard, you know what? You should probably do a live stream about that very subject and find other vets like yourself who are suffering from the same sort of situation and let them tell their stories too because of this. I think it's a valid story, and it needs to be told, and needs to be heard. But I'm going to go with Shrub. I think we need to ring that bell.
Yeah. But like I said, we've got to stop the drug trade. But I do admit I'm one of those people who say we need to legalize it so we can regulate it and tax it. That way people will know what the heck they're putting in their bodies. But that's just me. Now, we're going back to the Chavez when he came to power and all the ties that he started setting up throughout Latin America, trying to link up all of the various revolutionary groups, using the drug cartels as a way of pulling that shit off. But he also nationalized a huge amount of industry there in Venezuela. When he came to power, Venezuela had the third highest GDP on earth. Let that sink in, boys and girls. It was the third richest nation on earth. It was the leader of South America's. It had the best economy, had the highest standard of living, best education system. It had the best health system.
Let me tell you something, Richard. Okay, you know that population that I said in the green room before we went online, that here in South Florida, the next largest demographic besides Cuban Americans are Venezuelan Americans. Okay, they have grown a little sleepy suburb of Miami into the third largest and most expensive, I might add, metropolitan area in all of South Florida.
I think it's funny. I think this is funny that the Venezuelans and the Cubans get along so well when they're both extremely industrious people that work their asses off.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, the point is that just like you had doctors, lawyers, and even regular everyday folks jumping in whatever little dinghy and boat they could to get away from Castro's regime, you had folks getting out of Venezuela in whatever craft could convey them out of that country when all this crap went down.
Yep.
And they had the good sense, better sense than even the Cuban folks that had money, to get their money out before they got to these shores, so that now once they're here, they have not gone through the struggles that the Cuban Americans went through to build up businesses that they did and have. Okay, they have been able to grow part of the economy here in South Florida and elsewhere. Okay, elsewhere, because we haven't even talked about where the really rich Venezuelans went to. The really rich Venezuelans went to another suburb of South Florida that is actually represented by a Democrat, if you can believe that. Okay,
Debbie Blattermouth Schultz.
And that left-leaning Democrat has had to come out and, despite all her vitriol, say, "Oh, what a wonderful thing that we invaded and actually liberated that country."
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Because 60% of her constituents are expat Venezuelans. How's about that? 60%. It's probably a little higher. Okay. And when I say those were the rich Venezuelans, look up Weston, Florida, folks.
I know Weston.
Look it up. Okay. Look it up.
All right. Now, Chavez came to power, and they nationalized huge swaths of industry, mainly the oil industry. Now, Venezuelan oil was one of the easiest to get to that was not in the middle of the fracking desert. And the infrastructure that the United States companies went in there and built was top of the line, high tech, that they went in there and invested in and built all this stuff under contract with the Venezuelan government. Let that sink in for a second. A lot of this stuff, American companies had contracts with the Venezuelan government itself to build and maintain this infrastructure, to be able to safely and environmentally safe and positively extract the oil without damaging the environment. It wasn't even, I think, 6 years after they nationalized it that the oil production coming out of Venezuela started to drop like a rock off the side of a fucking cliff. And the infrastructure that needed specialized engineers to maintain also dropped off the fucking cliff.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
The environmental impact of this is so horrible. If you want some oil, all you gotta do is walk out into a field with a cup, a big huge cup or a big huge bucket, and push it into the ground, and it just oozes into that bucket. And yes, you got to clean out the dirt from that oil, but you got a bucket of oil.
Dude, there are places inside of Venezuela where you cannot actually go into without all-terrain vehicles because the saturation of petroleum in the soil is such that it is untraversable.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's
and that's just that.
and
We're talking about a bunch of other stuff. I gotta ask. I'm curious. What our madman. What do you got? What do you got?
With pertaining to what?
to this whole situation? What are you hearing?
He's going to be hitting on the stuff that Maduro has done to the people.
Yeah.
Now,
so I'm actually learning a lot from this. So,
all right, right now I'm setting up the stage for this, and explaining why Trump's seizures of these oil tankers of the Shadow Fleet is not in violation of international law, but is actually upholding international law. All right. Okay, let me see how I can put this. Chavez seized all these oil companies, assets, and projects, all of this infrastructure that they went down there and built. Top of the line, high technology to environmentally sound and safely extract this oil that required specialized engineers to do it. When Venezuela seized all this stuff, they then turned around and kicked all these highly specialized foreign engineers out. Now, this is expropriation of property and assets. It also broke the contracts between ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, and the Venezuelan government who made these contracts with. Now, there was compensation that was agreed upon but was never paid. So they took it to the international courts. And they won in court. The rulings were final, binding, and enforceable. Venezuela, they lost big time. And they had to pay tens of billions of dollars in damages. Let me see if I can find where it says how much it was that they were supposed to pay. Somewhere around at least 35 billion, I think, was the unpaid. That's the estimated unpaid court judgments. Now, the Venezuelans, they lost in court. They refused to pay the judgment that was made against them. And law allows the creditors to seize commercial assets belonging to said debtor outside the borders to satisfy those types of judgments. It's called judgment enforcement. Countries don't get a free pass just because they're an independent country. They still have to pay their fines and their reimbursements from this judgment. Okay? Now, the tankers that have been seized are state-owned Venezuelan oil. It's a commercial property. It's not military nor a diplomatic asset. They can be lawfully seized by a court order in cooperating jurisdictions. And since it's in the middle of international waters, guess what, boys and girls?
Well, let's double click on that. The fact that any of those assets operating under seized assets from a lawful concern. Okay, so let's say one of the oil companies run by the Venezuelan government purchased or leased said tanker, filled it with oil, okay, pumped from a field which had been also appropriated from another private concern that had lawful leases. Okay. All that stuff falls under the jurisdiction of U.S. law. Okay. International law. Yeah. International law upholds that right. So even if somebody wanted to say, I want to go to the World Court in The Hague, guess what the World Court in The Hague is going to say? U.S. law applies.
Well, they're good. They're actually going to say they're doing what they're supposed to do because this was international courts that also said that this needed to be done.
There
It's
you
just
go.
the fact that Trump actually had the cojones to actually go out and do it.
And what gets me, Richard, is if this was not a lawful detainment, okay, why did JB offer $25 million for his information to his capture?
Exactly. But
okay,
we're talking right now about all the seizures of these oil tankers.
I get it, but it's
and
like
why
that,
this
like
happened and how this has led up to this point.
Correct.
Now, there is a massive debt that needs to be paid here. Now, a typical oil tanker is carrying about 2 million barrels of oil, and at $62 per barrel, that means if the oil tanker's full, that's $124 million, right? So, net value in court sale would make that about 115 million to sell it. Now, that 35 billion that they got to pay off, that means they're going to have to seize at least 300 tankers to be able to pay all that money back. So
we haven't even gone into where those tankers were going, Richard.
And that's where I'm about to go to now. Now, these tankers were carrying oil to countries that are currently under what's the word I'm looking for? Sanctions. Where they're not supposed to be getting oil shipped to them. Places like Iran. Places like China. Let this should sink in, boys and girls. That's who they were sending all this oil to, and we were seizing it. Any country could have seized those tankers.
Yep.
Because they were not only to pay back the judgment, but because the oil was being sent to sanctioned country ports of entry, places they were not legally allowed to be sent to. Now, let that shit sink in, guys. Okay, it's terrifying to me. Okay. Hey, Shrubby, the biggest reason why we've set things up right now with the Australia, making it harder for Australians to come to the United States, there's an actual good reason for this. And you know it. Those territorial, insane, evil brown snakes. We don't want them here. We've got enough invasive species right now, and we're too scared that they're going to dress up in an overcoat and try to sneak over here. So yeah, that's why it is, man. that's why things are the way they are, or at least that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. I don't like snakes. Anyway, now Venezuela, for the longest time, acted crazy on this, and they just did what they wanted to fucking do. And for the longest time, they had a lot of American personalities and political leaders like, this guy who ran for president multiple times that caucuses with the Democrats called Bernie. What's his last name again? Bernie Sanders. That's it.
He's related to the Colonel.
Oh, God, no. We don't claim him. No. But he went down there and celebrated Chavez. AOC celebrated Chavez. Hell, she was celebrating Maduro, even whenever her own party was sitting there calling him out, saying that this dude's a dictator and he needs to be taken out, she was still celebrating him because he was a socialist. But you also had Sean Penn, all these big famous people from the United States went down there and was slobbing the knob. And not doing it in private. They were doing it in public. I mean, in front of massive crowds. I mean, there's porn stars that we like going, there's too many people around here for me to do my job.
Richard, slow down, man. I got the spray bottle and I know how to use it.
I'm making light of it.
I know, but still, man, you're doing a Sigvaldison on us.
Now,
but seriously, let's get back on track. Okay.
Venezuela was able to get away with this stuff for the longest time because one of the political parties here in the United States made excuses for Chavez because they love his politics. It drives me nuts because it's like anybody that comes out and starts cursing the United States, they're going to go out there and go, oh, yes, hit me harder, baby, hit me harder, and get off on it. And it just drives me nuts. It's like these crazy women that actually want dudes to choke them and beat them and all this other stuff. I don't get it.
I'm sorry, I got to interject with a liar, liar line when Jim Carrey says, "Hit me again, Ike, and put some steak on it." You know, okay.
Yes. Now, Chavez, this is why the oil tankers were getting snatched, was to pay this judgment off. Now, for those out there that keep saying the reason why we did all this is because of the oil. Well, guess what? That's immaterial, even though it is true. The oil is an issue. $35 billion judgment here. That's $35 billion bloody dollars of investment money that needed to be reimbursed, that did not get reimbursed. Now, we're looking at this going, what the hell? Now, Chavez dies, but dude knew he was dying. I can't remember what type of cancer it was that got him. But Venezuela went from having some of the best medical care in South America to having to rely upon Cuban medical care.
Yep. And I'll tell you this much. It is reported that 30-something% of the Venezuelan population does not have access to health care. Not adequate health care, to health care.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know how you can buy
makes absolute sense.
500
focus,
liquid
Richard,
filled
focus.
capsules of ibuprofen pretty cheaply here in the United States. If I had, hold on, I'm gonna do something right quick here. Hold on, give me a second. All right, see if this works. Okay, see this bottle? See it? Nice and full, 500 capsules. If I was to go to Venezuela with this in my suitcase, it would get seized.
Mm-hmm.
There were people going to Venezuela that knew having toilet paper, it wasn't going to be supplied there. So they were putting like 2 or 3 rolls of toilet paper in their suitcases back in the day whenever they had to go there. And when they would get there, they would then turn around and discover, hey, where the heck is my toilet paper, it's gone because
Mhm.
the people that were doing the bring searching your luggage coming in was taking it. And oh god, it was crazy. Simple pain medicine like aspirin and Tylenol, things of this nature, they don't have it. If you've got to get a surgery now, you have to show up and provide your own drugs, blood, scalpels, sutures, and all that stuff when you show up at the hospital.
Crazy.
And that's Crazy Horse saying that it was crazy.
Yeah.
So that's telling you just how crazy something is. That's what they went from the third richest country to eating the animals in a zoo. People were so hungry, they would go, oh, there's an animal in the field, and they would just swarm it, kind of like the Walking Dead zombies swarming an animal and just ripping it apart and eating it without cooking it. That's where they've ended up.
This has and always will be the end result of socialism and communism.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Now, Maduro comes to power during the transfer from Chavez to him as Chavez is dying. Chavez needed an heir, somebody who could continue the grand dream of uniting Latin America in the great Bolivarian alliance. And he chose Maduro because Maduro
Correct.
had ties to these various, not just revolutionary groups, but he had ties to the cartels. He was on really good terms with them. That freaks me out big time, but that's beside the point.
Yep.
Now, he was able to win that first election because everybody was grieving the death of their great leader of Chavez.
Mhm.
Because the cult of personality around Chavez was just as strong as the cult of personality that Fidel Castro had.
Right.
And in some ways, it was even greater than the Fidel Castro
Yep.
one.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to.
Because Chavez, and this is not well known or well expressed, Chavez was not as deeply entrenched with the drug cartels as Maduro has become.
Yeah.
Okay. If we were actually to investigate the amount of money this guy has socked away, okay, it would rival some of the richest people on earth. He liked to portray himself as a simple man, as a man looking out for the common person. Dude,
Just like Fidel.
yeah, then why did 8 million people cross the frontier into Colombia? Because they couldn't get basic health care. How come?
Was this before or after taking their guns away?
After.
Look, let's just put it this way. Part of the communist playbook was to convince the populace that because the state can take care of you, you do not need to defend yourself. Which is why in this country, the Second Amendment, the reason for the Second Amendment is for no other reason other than, even with the other things that are written in the Second Amendment, its primary reason for existence is to ensure that the First Amendment is not effed around with.
Yeah, it's to protect the First Amendment, exactly.
Nothing else.
Yep.
And that is what they did with Cuba. Once Fidel took over, guys, you don't need to rebel anymore. All those rifles that you had, all those firearms that you had, yeah, it's okay. We got you. We got you. And to their discredit, the Cuban people believed him. Those freaking idiots believed him. And
Well,
within
I wasn't
probably
lying.
18,
They
and
did.
within 18 months to 2 years, they were like, why did we do this again?
Yep.
And by the way, that is a direct quote from a family member of mine. Okay. He came over in the early 60s and he said to himself, we started to realize that it was the biggest mistake that we did, giving up our firearms
Mhm.
and letting them govern our lives. And well, they did that in Venezuela too.
Yep.
And there you
the playbook.
go.
And that's why we can't let it happen here.
Exactly.
And
Now,
over my dead body, horse.
Same.
Yeah.
okay.
Same.
I'm right there with you.
Maduro allowed that first election to happen because it was pretty much wrapped up. He was the handpicked successor. He was able to win the election. But after that, he did everything he could to stop elections. He even rewrote the Constitution that they had to make it easier for him to not have to go through election processes. And
Of course not.
now, hold on, let me see if I can find Maria Corina Machado. Is that how you say her last name?
Correct.
Machado?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was the leader of the opposition party.
Right.
And the last election, she won it by 75% of the vote.
Yep.
He says no, throws that out. Now, that wasn't the first time he threw out election results. This woman was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for the work she had been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it drives, I'm like, damn, what the hell?
I applaud her, Richard, because she put herself in the line of fire.
Yes, she did.
Okay. But
Especially
people,
considering Maduro, not only his blatant thefts of these elections, he was persecuting the leadership of opposition parties.
right.
The leaders
you
have
can-
disappeared.
Now you consider what's happened in Russia with the opponents of Putin that have literally disappeared. Okay, they gone. They're out of here. Okay, they're Casper the Ghost. All right. The issue here is not being elected. The issue is, okay, so you won. What are you going to do with that? Do you have an agenda? Do you have a plan? Because if you're running on a platform of this guy needs to get out of here, you better have a plan for after the fact of, oh crap, what do we do if we actually win? Okay? Because if you look at the events of today, okay, our president has accepted the interim vice president as continuing to shape the future of that country. Okay. Even though she will, I mean, you'd have to be out of your mind to think that she didn't have knowledge of what Maduro is doing. Let's be frank. You'd have to be in a coma to not realize that what was going on was happening. Okay.
Yep.
But the fact is, here we have a person who is duly elected as president of a sovereign nation who, when presented with the question of, so what's your transition plan? Your answer is crickets. What do you think?
I know I know we do have a transition plan.
Well, we do, but we haven't been duly elected, Richard. She was duly elected. She got the Nobel Prize for her courage.
Yeah.
And yet, when asked the question, okay, so what do you got? Who's going to start taking over the day to day? How are you going to wrest control from these people into a organization that can support the duly elected leader of this country? The answer was crickets.
Yeah. Unfortunately. But
Okay,
Maduro,
so
okay.
there you go.
Also, Maduro was. This is where our Madman Four here gets to come in and take the stage
All right, yeah,
about the things that Maduro was doing to the Christians and the opposition party.
just regular people,
there,
just
in,
regular common people, you know.
Yeah, it's really messed up. So I'm going to let our Madman talk about it.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I'll say something for a second because I mean, my wife obviously knows a lot of things, and even some things she won't say. Because I mean, my wife, she works in like linguistics, translations, document translations, and stuff like that. Some for governments, you know, among other things. And some of the people she worked with, and I'm being a little vague here, but from Venezuela. And one thing she says is that there are like family members still in Venezuela, and they're trying to get out. These people like have lost everything to escape Venezuela. It's that bad. I mean, you have these testimonies from a lot of people, people currently in the country, or you know, go in, go out. There's been like issues with she have like a member in her church that is Venezuela, like owning a clinic, but they had to leave because government took possession of the property. So it's no longer an individual, any type of individual privatization of any businesses. The government just takes control. You're not allowed any semblance of freedom for anything in the country. This person's spouse like got disabled because they were beaten by mercenaries, by Chavez mercenaries, actually. And it's a miracle that this particular person is alive from that. And a lot of people live on the countryside, so they can plant. And within people within my wife's church, they focus more on a vegetarian, a less meat type diet, you know, for the health benefits. So being out in the country is a little bit easier because you can grow things, but at the same time, you still need to be on guard because there are people who can steal that food. There still are, you know, mercenaries under the regime that will go around and just, you're not safe no matter what you do. You have to be in hiding in some level. So and these are principles of faith that they believe in. Their beliefs being infringed in that way. And of course, I mean, the cities are just way worse. So I think the important thing too is that when it came to last weekend, and my wife, you know, found out about this extraction over the weekend, she was very happy about it, again because she knows people who are in and out of the country, and nobody went to church. They're Saturday keepers, Sabbath keepers, so nobody went to church in Venezuela that day. Not that they couldn't, but it's not as restrictive. But they don't know what's going to happen. It's better to just be at home, lie low for the time being, just so if there is any type of reactionary actions that still happen within the Maduro regime or what's left of it, they're going to be safe, or as safe as they possibly can be. So as far as I can tell, there's still unrest. There's still very unsure, and it's going to be tough to see where this goes. Yes, you removed, you know, one dictator, but will another rise up?
Correct.
there's still a lot to be done with this
Yeah.
because people are still there.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Today there was a report of a couple of 60-something-year-olds who were walking through the streets of a suburb of Caracas with a sign celebrating the removal of Maduro were arrested,
Yep.
No,
and they haven't been seen by their family.
Yep.
there's been pushback and gunfire starting last night. And at first they thought it was a coup back against it, but now it's the Maduro loyalists going after the average civilians.
Mhm.
Isn't it funny how the supporters of a regime that took away the rights of people to own firearms suddenly have firearms to be able to suppress the
Mhm.
acts of citizens to speak freely? Isn't that interesting?
Surprise, surprise.
Yep. That's how it usually goes.
They were remobilizing the military and police forces against the loyal or the
The
anybody
freedom
or they
fighters.
could have supported the U.S. or was against Maduro. So
Now,
we,
Maduro loyalists, of course, they're going to be fighting. They're literally fighting for their lives right now. So they're going to do what they're going to do. Now, Maduro was going after all these opposition party leadership. Many of them just have disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to them. We extracted Machado. Uh, I can't remember if it was before Christmas or right after Christmas. But the Navy SEALs went in there and extracted her, got her out. Which, when my contact said, hey, Machado's just been extracted safely out of Venezuela, I was like, oh, really? Tell me more. Because she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, and Maduro was not going to allow her to go get it. He was not going to allow her to leave the country to go get her Nobel Peace Prize.
mm,
Now, I cannot remember if she was under house arrest or not. But I do know that I can't remember, there was another politician who had won an election that was thrown out, that they had to extract him a while back because he also, they were threatening to kill his ass. So, yes, Maduro was not a good dude at
no.
all. Going after his opposition, killing them, making them disappear, the things that he did to the average person. I have talked to several people over the past month about this, about what they saw the last time they went to Venezuela, that they had been there before Chavez came to power, and how horribly it has fallen in less than a generation. That the poverty of it was so stark that they were in tears talking about it. And the fact that there's so many areas in the urban areas, they don't have running water. They have to rely on fresh water that is brought in by the government to them. And then they have to get that water in containers and then walk it back home. And there was a picture from back in the day in Brazil, where you had this ultra modern city, and the outskirts of it was a shanty town that was so bad, it literally looked as if one good gust of hard wind would kill about 20,000 people by just starting a domino effect of one little shack blowing over, and it just keep going.
Yep, I've seen those shacks when I was in Panama. I know exactly what you mean.
And that's what many of the cities there in Venezuela look like now. They went from looking like cities and towns that you would find in the United States or Europe to this. And it's such a stark contrast that they had a hard time believing that it degenerated into that situation. Now, 2 weeks ago, there was a whole lot of activity that was going on. People were talking about, oh, we're about to go to war with Venezuela because we had growlers in operation. A growler, for those who don't know, is a special F-18 equipped with electronic warfare equipment, which basically turns off the ability for people to see what's out there. It was during this period of time that the Joint Special Operations Command was able to infiltrate Special Forces operator units from Army, Navy, and Marines, and possibly even the Air Force, to infiltrate Venezuela so they can go and target cartel strongholds, supply caches, anti-aircraft emplacements, and start tracking down where the leadership of Maduro's government was located. Don't quote me on this. I'm taking this with a grain of salt and as a rumor, but they were also there to make contact with people within the Maduro government that would be willing to take bribes to make it easier for them to get Maduro out. Now, one of the rumors is that one of Maduro's generals got paid off in RuneScape gold because a lot of Venezuelans were using RuneScape gold because it was more valuable than Venezuelan money.
Well, that's what happens. That's what happens, you know.
The gold in a video game was more valuable than their nation's cash.
Socialist utopia is utopia, guys. Socialist utopia. And this is a lesson. I don't know how many times it needs to be repeated throughout human history. For younger people, this is the end result of communism and socialism. Don't think you can do it any better, because it's never going to happen. This is always the end result. And if I can say one other thing too, because I listen to somebody who always makes this point. If you don't think the person is in charge of these dictatorships is a tyrant and a thief, just ask what their bank account, how much is in their bank account, and where they get the money from.
Yep.
I mean, look at Fidel Castro. This dude walked around wearing army greens, but the dude had bank accounts in the billions.
He stole all the money.
Yes.
That's it. They're simple thieves in a sense. That's all it is thievery and thuggery.
Yep.
And so did Saddam Hussein, and I think Gaddafi was the only one that was not as bad.
Mm-hmm.
He did it, just not as bad. Except for the whole hot chicks in military uniforms as his personal bodyguard.
He had to give some money for that, you know. That's, you know.
I mean, I have aspirations now of taking over the country and naming it Spakestot and having a hot chick security guards protecting my butt.
Everybody needs a hobby.
Yep. But hey, yeah, that's gonna be fun. Now, these guys, the JSOC guys that went in there, they were laying all the groundwork for Operation Absolute Resolve. They spotted where the anti-aircraft was at. We sent down there F-45, F-22s, F-35s, B-1 bombers, and Apache gunships to go down there and snatch this son of a bitch. Because what did he do again? Oh, yes. Come and get me, you cowards. What is one thing you do not do?
FAFO.
You don't want to fuck around because you're definitely going to find out. I mean, anybody that's bitching about this, Maduro invited us in to do it.
Yes, he did.
So you ain't got no reason to bitch. He invited us in.
Right.
Now, hold on a second, guys. Uh-oh. All right, Marcelo's going to have to run.
Yep.
Go ahead. Go ahead. But
Final word, dude. Final word. This story is not over. There's more stuff to come. The administration is going to try to work with this interim president, who apparently has some sort of plan. We will see over the next few months if this person can bring the situation back under control, if she can restore order and democracy back into that country, or we'll have to take some next steps. That's all there is to it.
Yep.
Correct.
I am hoping, you know me, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Correct. So everybody have a great evening, and I'll catch you on the next shadow drop.
All right. Love you, brother.
Yep. Later.
All right. Now, they laid this groundwork. They got things set up. I bet if you guys can find the video that Habitual Line Crosser did called the Yoikening. Yes, I that's where I got my idea of using the name the Yoikening from, was Habitual Line Crosser, because it's just too funny, and it just fits too good because we yoinked that bastard. Now he does a dramatic reading of the operation and how it got taken care of. Now,
okay, got it right here.
he I have to admit, his character of Little European Texas, i.e. Poland, was sitting there responding about how he was describing everything that was supposed to happen. He's like going, I know you couldn't do this because of copyright reasons, but the whole time I could hear it in my head. Team America, fuck yeah. Come to save the day now. I have, if I was one of those Delta Force operators, I would have had a boombox playing that shit the whole time.
Who says they didn't?
I know. I know. They probably were. Or better yet, they were singing it as cadence.
Yep.
Because they went in there and they were able to pull this off in 35 minutes. They were on the ground snatching this dude.
Absolutely brilliant. Precision.
What they took off was 35 minutes.
Amazing.
Okay? For anybody that's never been in the military, there is so many moving parts of this. It's mind-blowing that they were able to pull this off.
Richard, can I ask you a question too?
Go for it.
Because you're a bit familiar with this. You always have contingency plans. You always have to like anticipate things going terribly wrong. Correct?
Yes.
Yep.
And they did have contingency plans that if something did go wrong, how to respond with it. And one of those was going to be landing a shit ton of fucking Marines to secure the area to get American personnel out of there if something had went wrong. They did not want another Mogadishu to happen, or the screw up that happened with the Osama bin Laden raid where we lost Jedi One, one of the specialty stealth Blackhawks that we lost when they went in there to take out Osama. Now, let that sink in, guys. We had the horrible rollout of the pullout from Afghanistan. Now, compare that to absolute resolve. It's as different as night and day.
Totally different.
Now, just like what happened during the Obama years, anything that went wrong while Obama was president, he would start going, Bush's fault. It's Bush's fault. Anytime something went wrong during the Biden years, Trump's fault. Let that sink in, kids. Problem is, when you're president or you're the commander of any type of operation, anything that goes wrong, even if you are at home in bed, sleeping on leave, you're the one who did wrong. Because there were officers in the Navy who commanded ships that something went wrong, and the captain of that ship was on leave back at home dealing with a family emergency. Ships hit something. Guess whose ass got screwed? That captain. Even though he wasn't on the ship at the time, it was still his fault.
Right.
That's what happens when you're president. If something goes wrong, it's your fault. If something goes right, you get the benefits of it.
Yep.
You can't just take the benefits of when things go right and then throw off anything that goes wrong to somebody else. You got to be willing to accept that responsibility. That's what leadership is.
Right.
And sorry about that rant. I'm sorry. But absolute resolve. I'm celebrating it because they did something impossible and they pulled it off so fucking amazingly well.
With little resistance and such precision. I mean, even to flipping the switch and their lights are off.
The
electronic warfare that they did there too.
Yes. It drives me nuts when you've got these people that were bitching about that and going, why are you celebrating it? Because they did the impossible and pulled it off.
And it's to benefit the people.
Yes. And the Venezuelan people are sitting there in the street celebrating this stuff.
Yep. In Miami, just having street, big, massive block parties.
Yes.
And just pure celebration.
So anybody that's trying to be a detractor to this is because they got TDS. That's the only way. It's Trump derangement syndrome. That's the only thing that makes sense of people complaining about this.
Yep. Yeah, because even a lot of the left is coming back around starting to praise it after they realized that the population was actually all for this.
Well, let me see if I can find the guy's name. Because I posted it the other where let's see, I know that the governor of Puerto Rico was celebrating this. She wrote an open letter praising Trump for pulling this off. Let's see, where did I put you guys? Here it is. Ari Aramesh torched his own party over what happened in Venezuela.
Yep.
His statement was, "Stop attacking Trump just because he's Trump. Capturing Maduro and hauling him here like a criminal is an American strength. Scaring dictators like Ali Khamenei and warning that there will be consequences for murdering protesters is a good thing. This isolationist brain rot is killing us." And he's right. If we can put the fear of God in these dictators, that this type of thing can be done, maybe they're going to stop killing their own people.
Right. Yeah, because we just flexed our muscles for the first time in years. And
Yes.
It was quite amazing to watch.
Yes, that's why I'm celebrating it. We showed the world what we can do. Doing the impossible is part of the job description.
That's why we have the best military out there.
Yep. And I'm looking at this and thinking, just like what happened when Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Right.
Okay. A lot of people started waking the hell up because, oh my God, they're celebrating the murder of this man. They're watching people who, when Biden was in office and when Obama was in office, was saying these people need to be dealt with. Right. Biden put what, $52 million bounty on fucking Maduro's head?
Yes.
And was calling for somebody to take his ass out. And then Trump does it. The same people that was calling for him to be taken out are now screaming, "Oh my God, you got to put him back in power."
Dad. That's why you can definitely look back at the old videos of what they said and what they're saying now are two totally different things.
Exactly. This double standard and hypocrisy has got to stop, because it's doing nothing but destroying the soul of our nation. It's dividing people when all you're looking at is the jersey on the person sitting in the White House or in Congress or in the governor's mansion or the mayor's mansion. As long as they're wearing the same jersey as me, it's okay. We've got to stop that. When something happens that is for the benefit of everybody, we need to celebrate it.
True.
It's like when when the assassin tried to kill Trump. If somebody had tried that with Biden or Harris or Obama or Clinton, I would lose my shit just the way I lost my shit when they tried to kill Trump.
Yeah.
Because you don't do that. Americans are not that type of people. It's one of the reasons why I became known as the American patriot for a reason. Not just because I love this country and I'm a patriot. It's because of my simple statement. When people do something or they mess up, they say, "I'm only human." I'm sorry. That's not an excuse. It's an indictment. Yes, you're only human. You should know better. You should be able to do better. That's how I look at it. We should have a high bar and we should strive for that high bar. And when we
Yeah.
fall short, we should be able to say, my bad, I'm sorry. Sorry for the rant. But
It wasn't too long.
it does. This frustrates me.
Yeah.
I am a non-denominational Christian. What does that mean? That means I believe in the teachings of a Jewish handyman by the name of Jesus Christ. Okay?
Right.
Hey, Siggy.
Hey, Sigvalda's in.
Oh, now we really need the spray bottle.
Hopefully he ain't going to go there because we're trying to be serious at the moment. We can do so much better. And we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. That's why our pop culture was so important. That's why superheroes was so important to our children. It set a high bar. I became known as the American Patriot because I could not use the phrase that the Marines and Navy guys I served with gave me, and that was Captain America. I couldn't use that because it's copyrighted.
Yep.
They called me Captain America because I was always talking about the history of this country, about the Republic, how it was set up, what the Constitution means. These things are integral to who I am. So yes, I care about it. I wanted to teach it in school. I wanted to teach civics in school and teach history so I could share why I love this.
Right.
By sharing the things that I love with people, people can feel that love and it inspires them to do more with it. How many times have y'all told me that I've inspired y'all to do this sort of thing? That the passion of me saying, let's share the things we love with others because this world needs more love in it. And when we share things that we love, the passion that we have for it, it infects other people to share what they love. And when you're open about these things, it brings us together.
Yeah.
It's about inspiring people. It's inspiring the next generation.
Exactly.
Yep. And how we can make it better for them.
That's what pop culture used to do before they started pushing the message.
True.
And not caring about telling good stories, did not care about inspiring. That's why I am so upset with how they keep deconstructing our superheroes. They tear them down, but they never build them back up.
And Richard, there's something that I've been mulling over the past few weeks, like an equation in my head when it comes to like pop culture, politics, and religion. Like I don't know if Ed. So this is still something that I'm brainstorming, but to me, like you have an equation for a society that's a civil society, civil order, and the way that I'm framing it in my head is that you have like a scale, but it's like a triple scale instead of a double scale, and on each ends of these scales you have culture, you have governance, and you have religion. And when they are like all equally balanced, you have a level civil society going forward. But if one loses its weight, loses influence, and others gain influence, then the imbalance comes. And the way I was thinking, it's like you have a degradation of religion, you have a degradation of pop culture, but you have this over massive interest more in politics, and politics, to define it rather simply, is just the concern on how we are governed
Yes.
as a country and as society. And there can be an over use in it. And when those things start becoming imbalanced, well, then society starts becoming imbalanced. And so now I could be right or wrong in that estimation or thought. It's something that I'm still thinking about. But when we get into that point, and I believe we are, how do we get back to a balance? So where do we go from here? Is the question that I have in my head.
One of the things I've actually thought about this a lot.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Now, you have one side of the political equation that wants government control of everything,
Mm-hmm.
and the other side that just wants to be left the hell alone. One side that wants to control what you think and what you say, what you do. The other side's like, just leave me the hell alone. The only way we're going to be able to deal with that and get back to a balance is where the majority of people are saying, leave us alone. That was the quintessential American political ideology that this nation was founded on.
Right.
Just leave me the hell alone. That was it.
Or don't tread on me.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It was the whole
government control of everything so we can all live in a fourth world country. There you go, Siggy.
You live your life the way you see fit. Don't push it on me. Don't hurt animals and don't hurt kids. And we're good to go. That was the quintessential American political outlook. Then you had the rise of progressivism, which was inspired by the Austrian model, which was inspired by Marx. We could go. We could do probably a deep dive onto this because it's wild. The American roots of fascism tie into the Austrian model, which was inspired by Marx. Mussolini himself stated that he was inspired to spin off fascism from the Italian socialist movement by Woodrow Wilson and the American progressive movement. That is, and a lot of people don't get the fact that back in the day, there were a lot of leading left-wing Fabian socialist leadership like George Bernard Shaw, who were singing the praises of both Mussolini and good old Adolf, funny mustache man. They were, it was, the fascism was seen as the better way of going to the future, of taking Marxism to the future, because fascism and communism are the two sides of the coin that is socialism, i.e. Marxism. Fascism, yes, it's got total government control, but it leaves you with the illusion of private ownership. Communism, on the other hand, it's everybody's property. Now, yes, Siggy's got it right here. I remember those days. That last guy, i.e. George Bernard Shaw, wanted people every year to justify their existence. And you can actually find video of him talking about that, saying put every man and woman in a chair in front of a panel of people and say, "Sir or madam, please justify a reason for your continued existence for the community to keep you alive. And if you couldn't be able to do it, terminate you." And he was actually calling for scientists to come up with a humane gas that would eliminate human people. That was George Bernard Shaw. the great playwright that is still celebrated to this day, who was calling for this stuff. And it's, oh man, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. But back to the Maduro and all the stuff that has gone on here. I look at this and I keep looking at all the bad stuff this dude did. And I cannot get over the fact that there are people that are crying that he needs to be released and given back power. All because it was Trump who brought him to justice. Irrational hatred overwhelming rational mind and common human decency at its work. And Siggy says this reminds him of the Twilight Zone episode Redundancy. Yes, exactly. That's where they got the ideas from. A lot of the stuff with Twilight Zone people don't get was inspired by these philosophical discussions about these concepts of the state being above all else. Why do you think they fought so hard to redefine what that fascism was a right-wing ideology? The only way fascism is a right-wing ideology is if you're using the European political spectrum. But then again, the European political spectrum, when you look at the American spectrum is all left-wing. Because the American political spectrum, hold on, let me turn on my camera. Because I'm going to need, all right. This is the right. This is the left. Anarchy. When you go all the way to the right in America. Anarchy. All the way to the left in America. Authoritarianism, totalitarianism, total government control. That's the American political spectrum. That's the way to look at it. Europeans have a very different political spectrum, which in many ways is pretty much government in charge of stuff. Even their conservative parties are pretty much, it's the government's job to take care of people. That's fair. On the American spectrum, that's left wing. Go figure. But they spent so much time. I mean, so many people like to say the United States is a democracy. We're not. We are a representative republic with a democratic tradition of voting for our representatives. That's very different than a democracy.
Constitutional republic.
Exactly.
Huh.
All right, we're going to have to get ready to wrap it up.
For sure.
So I hope everybody has enjoyed today's deep dive. So let's hit the hawking your caca moment. We'll start with our madman. Go for it.
Sure. All right.
Let me put you up on the stage so you're nice and big.
Yeah. Whoa, there we are. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Our Man 4, usually when on the panel for these particular streams from the wonderful community of Overlord DVD, and when I'm commenting in the chat and Overlord DVD streams, but I do have a channel where I show my skills, which is Tales of Valhalla. And you just type in YouTube description, you should find it. It says TOV like it says right here on my shirt. And just do a lot of fun animations. If you want, because we're talking a little bit about pop culture, and I like to hope and to think that I'm trying to contribute as much as I can into good storytelling, which I've done the past 10 years, is create a stop motion series based off the board game Heroescape, which is primarily the protagonists are World War II paratroopers venturing this strange world of Valhalla to help save the universe, and it's got a bit of satire, a little bit of fun. It's 3 seasons long, 10 episodes each season, and it's been a wild ride, a lot of fun for me personally and professionally to animate this and create this story. And I'm planning to do other seasons in the future as well when I have the time and funds. But so you have that if you enjoy that. For those of you who are interested in miniature wargaming or the like, we also talk about Heroescape because it's currently been re-released out into the world. So we go through the lore, the game mechanics, whether it be casual or competitive, on the channel as well. So definitely check it out. I enjoy doing this thing and hope to make it really, really professional soon to come. But yes, check it out. And thank you, Richard. I think one other thing I want to say too, I think more than ever, we need to keep each other and the world and the leaders, even the bad ones, in prayer. I think prayer is going to be very important from the body of Christ, because we're going down a road that, even though there are predictable things, you never know what's going to happen. And putting our trust in God is first and foremost paramount to anything else. So thank you, Richard. I hope I can do that. I hope it's not another like 6 months before I come back, but I do appreciate when I'm able to come on here.
Oh yeah. Remember, anytime you're able and want to, you've got a place by the fire.
For sure, man.
Crazy Horse, you're up next.
Okay. Well, I'm currently working on a few different things over on my channel to get it up and running. So we will be doing a few things soon. Maybe some open panel discussions, maybe some Star Trek reviews. Still working on a few things and trying to get it all together, but that'll be over on my channel, the Crazy Horse channel, which you can find it by just searching Crazy Horse 1985. Other than that,
All right, give me a
I
second.
don't have too much more else going on.
That channel link, just like I did for our madman here. Here we go. There it is. There's the link.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to paste my Tales of Valhalla channel on there too, because that's the one you should go to. I mean, our Madman 4 channel's fine, but yeah.
Gotcha.
That's my own there. So.
And yes, I just made our Madman 4 one of my moderators.
Cool.
All right, everybody, thank you guys for coming. If you're coming in at the end of it, please watch the whole thing, this deep dive. And for a lot of parts, this is just touching on a lot of these issues that came about from this, and is mostly because I got approached by both Crazy Horse and Marcelo saying, hey, we need to talk about this and do a deep dive on it. So we set it up to do it here today on Tuesday instead of the usual Wednesday. We're still doing Wednesday tomorrow. Our Fireside chat tomorrow, which is going to be one of our every week, our weekly Fireside chat where we're talking about various things from pop culture. Yep.
Absolutely, Tony.
Here we go. Remember, big YouTubers will eventually retire. Trust us to fill those shoes. Promote the future.
We got to become the legends that we look up to.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We are the future. We need to be the positive change we want to see in the world. Let our example exist as a beacon, a light for the future. It's by doing this that we're going to make the world a better place. Share the things that you love with others. Because, brothers and sisters, this world definitely needs a lot more love in it. And the only way we can get that is by each and every one of us going out there and doing good and sharing the things we love. May the peace of God be with you. And remember, you're not alone, and you are loved.